Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of 5-Minute Gaming News, the show that's done it again. It's another week in the books. Look at us. Today in the news, a follow-up to a story that we've been covering all week about Nintendo. Well, the Video Game History Foundation has some things to say. In case you missed it this week, Nintendo is closing the eShop for Wii U and 3DS. And with that closure comes the loss of many games. Well, the Video Game History Foundation, whose work includes preserving old games and hardware, had the following to say about the new direction Nintendo is headed. While it is unfortunate that people won't be able to purchase digital 3DS or Wii U games anymore, we understand the business reality that went into this decision. What we don't understand is what path Nintendo expects its fans to take, should they wish to play these games in the future. As a paying member of the Entertainment Software Association, Nintendo actively funds lobbying that prevents even libraries from being able to provide legal access to these games. Not providing commercial access is understandable, but preventing institutional work to preserve these titles on top of that is actively destructive to video game history. We encourage ESA members like Nintendo to rethink their position on this issue and work with existing institutions to find a solution. And that's an interesting point, because at the end of the day, this isn't about like your kid playing Mario in the future. This is about your kid's kid understanding what we did in, say, the 90s for fun. It's historical, despite it just being games. The irony of all of this is that the best way to preserve these games, many people feel, is through piracy, a huge problem that Nintendo is currently trying to fight. Are they making that problem worse? Did they cause that problem to begin with other previous decisions? Nintendo gets away with so much from their fans. They have all this goodwill built up over years and years, and it feels like they're squandering that in the dumbest ways possible, and I simply don't get it. But I don't get a lot of things in the gaming industry. Speaking of the gaming industry and games, and more importantly, owning them, Ars Technica had a report yesterday about how physical copies of video games are quickly becoming a niche market. In a recent analysis, the number of physical games available on cartridges or discs or whatever dropped from 321 to 226 between 2018 and 2021. In 2021 alone, the number of digital releases skyrocketed 64% over 2020. An interesting factoid in the article: the decline in distinct physical releases is not being felt equally across major consoles. Across PlayStation consoles, the total number of new physical releases declined over 38% from 2018 to 2021, echoing a nearly 31% decline on Xbox consoles. On Switch, meanwhile, the total number of physical releases decreased by less than 7% over the same period. They go on to say the number of distinct downloadable titles, on the other hand, increased significantly on all three console families in 2021. That's especially true on the Switch, which saw a 63% increase in the number of new digital releases from 2020 to 2021. That isn't to say that physical copies are doomed and the future is all digital. There will still be physical copies, and it looks like, at least for the time being, most of those will come from giant AAA publishers who are giving you extras like collector's editions, things like that. And we'll see a lot more of those, and most likely some of the bigger high-end $200, $300, $400 collector's editions that are for that niche market of people that want to have the box in their room, or to just say you got the collector's edition. And most other things will be, the in-game stuff, that's all digital, so they can sell it digitally. But that statue or whatever, that is something they will keep making, and probably we'll see that for years to come. But the trend is there. If you want a really deep dive, I suggest just go to the article. It is fascinating. All the statistics and numbers, I love that stuff. And you can see kind of the idea behind what Nintendo's doing, and maybe get some more insight on their plans for the future, which are certainly interesting. Speaking of the future, by the way, I'm going to one day be known for these transitions because I'm killing it. Speaking of the future, we have got big news on two upcoming RPGs. the first Baldur's Gate 3. Even though early access has been available for a while now, the big 1.0 release, unfortunately, won't be out until sometime in 2023. In a recent interview, the big boss at Larian, Sven Vink, said, "The main goal here is quality, getting the game at the quality level it needs to be. That said, we do think we still need a year to do that. But it will be the last year. We are getting to the end of it. So hopefully, for all of us who've been waiting for the big release, we'll see that in the beginning of 2023, maybe February, wink." Another big one on the way, Dragon Age 4. VentureBeat's Jeff Grubb gives us a little taste of the game, saying it's in very good shape, but that it still has at least 18 months to go. And this is good news, because there's been plenty of rumors about the game's development, how they've run into all sorts of problems, but Grubb says things are coming together. So while we definitely aren't going to see anything in the first half of 2023, potentially we'll see something for November 2023, or maybe February 2024. It sounds like we're starting to see more and more 2023 titles on the way. Well, that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Another week in the can. I cannot believe it. Thank you all for the support and all the love. This has been, it started as a goof, and here we are doing this again. I'm blown away, and I love all the comments. Please keep them up, and thumbs up, and subscribe up, and bell up, and more importantly, Patreon up, over at patreon.com/Jesse Cox. It's dumb.
I'm gonna one day be known for these transitions. Killing it!
And the biggest of ups, that's right, to Turin, Edwin Adelsberger, and Matthew Leckenby. Thank you all for your support. That's it. We're done. See you all Monday. Bye, everybody.